Where is the rape capital of the world? It's a question that demands our attention. In some places, the numbers are staggering. For instance, in South Africa, it's estimated that a woman is raped every 36 seconds. In India, reports suggest that a woman is raped every 15 minutes. These aren't just numbers, they represent real people, real trauma. Recently, a horrific incident occurred at R.G. Carr Medical College in West Bengal. A woman was brutally raped, highlighting the urgent need for action and awareness. This is a global epidemic, and it's about time we shine a light on these dark corners of our world. We need to talk about it, understand it, and most importantly, fight against it.
This is Sarah. She was walking home from work one evening. Suddenly, she was dragged into an alley, her screams swallowed by the night, the fear, the pain, the violation, now etched into her memory. Sarah's story is horrifyingly common, and that's what makes this issue so infuriating. The physical scars may heal, but the emotional wounds run deeper. This is about shining a spotlight on the perpetrators and the societies that protect them. In India, at KRG Hospital, a series of rapes were initially reported as suicides. When the truth emerged, authorities vandalized the protests, trying to silence the outcry. But the voices demanding justice only grew louder.
Pause 3 says. Now let's take a look at another harrowing story, this time from Africa. This is Amina, a young girl from Nigeria. One evening, while walking to fetch water from a nearby well, Amina was ambushed by a group of armed men. They took her deep into the forest, where she endured unimaginable horrors. For days, she was subjected to repeated assaults, her cries for help echoing through the trees but reaching no one. Eventually, she was left for dead. Amina's story is tragically not unique. In Nigeria and many other parts of Africa, sexual violence is often used as a weapon of war, a tool to instill fear and exert control. Communities are torn apart and survivors like Amina are left to pick up the pieces, often with little to no support. The stigma surrounding such violence further isolates victims, making recovery an uphill battle. It's crucial to highlight these stories, not to sensationalize, but to humanize these statistics. Every victim like Amina has a name, a face, and a story that deserves to be heard. We must confront these brutal realities if we are to bring about meaningful change. Pause 3S. Now let's journey to India, where another heart-wrenching story unfolds. This is Priya, a young woman from a small village in Uttar Pradesh. One fateful evening, while returning home from her job at a local factory, Priya was attacked by a group of men. They dragged her into a secluded area where she was brutally assaulted and left severely injured. Priya's cries for help went unheard in the dark, lonely night. For hours, she lay there, battling pain and fear, until a passerby finally found her and called for help. Priya was taken to a hospital, but the physical and emotional scars she bore were deep and lasting. Her story is one of many in India, a country grappling with a pervasive culture of sexual violence. In rural and urban areas alike, women and girls face the constant threat of such attacks, often with little recourse for justice. The societal stigma that follows survivors like Priya only compounds their suffering, making it difficult for them to rebuild their lives. By sharing Priya's story, we aim to shed light on the pervasive issue of sexual violence in India. These are not just isolated incidents, they are part of a broader pattern of systemic abuse and neglect. Priya, like Amina, deserves to have her story told and her pain acknowledged. Only by confronting these harsh truths can we hope to create a safer world for all. Let's talk numbers, because these figures are more than just statistics. They represent shattered lives. Every year, millions of people around the world experience sexual violence. To put that into perspective, let's insert a staggering statistic about the frequency of sexual assault globally. And these are just the reported cases. The reality is likely far more grim, with many survivors suffering in silence due to fear, shame, or lack of support. Certain regions, however, bear a disproportionate burden of this global crisis. Countries like Name a Few countries are often dubbed rape capitals, a chilling testament to the deeply rooted societal issues at play. These statistics are a stark reminder of the work that still needs to be done. Now, let's talk about those so-called rape capitals. These are the places where the risk of sexual violence is alarmingly high, often fueled by a toxic cocktail of poverty, conflict, and deeply entrenched gender inequality. In Name a Country, for example, share a specific statistic or story about the prevalence of rape in that country. And in Name Another Country, the situation is even more dire, with share a shocking statistic or story. It's easy to point fingers and distance ourselves from these realities, but the truth is, this is a global problem that demands global action. We can't afford to turn a blind eye to these atrocities. The fight for justice and equality knows no borders. Pause 2S. As we work towards turning the tide, it's crucial to understand the scope of the problem we face. Here are 10 cities around the world that have alarmingly high rates of sexual violence, a stark reminder of the work that still needs to be done. 1. New Delhi, India. With over 2,000 reported cases annually, New Delhi has become infamous for its high rates of sexual violence. 1. Johannesburg, South Africa. Known as one of the most dangerous cities for women, Johannesburg sees thousands of rape cases each year. 1. Mexico City, Mexico. Despite efforts to curb violence, Mexico City reports over 1,500 rapes annually. 1. Sao Paulo, Brazil. This bustling metropolis witnesses more than 10,000 sexual violence cases each year. 1. Dhaka, Bangladesh. With inadequate law enforcement, Dhaka reports nearly 1,000 rape cases annually. 1. Cairo, Egypt. Cultural and social factors contribute to over 2,500 reported rapes each year in Cairo. 1. Nairobi, Kenya. Nairobi sees hundreds of rape cases annually, with many going unreported due to stigma. 1. Lima, Peru. Lima struggles with high rates of sexual violence, reporting over 1,200 cases each year. 1. Karachi, Pakistan. With societal pressures and weak law enforcement, Karachi reports more than 700 rape cases annually. 1. Manila, Philippines. Despite various initiatives, Manila reports over 1,000 cases of sexual violence each year. These numbers are not just statistics, they represent real lives, real pain, and real injustice. It is our collective responsibility to address this global epidemic and work towards a safer world for all. Join us in spreading awareness and advocating for change. Together we can make a difference.